Alliance, they've been fragging out. And they've been getting towards that end zone in the last few games, and obviously, you know, performing at a very high level. So North, I think, just need to be maybe a little bit more measured in that end game. As you can see here, we're into our game number 6. It took us 9 games to find a champion yesterday for North America. Game 6 now. Is it going to be done and dusted?
It might, and we're about to find out. Refinery got the hot zone as for now, and as you were saying, North, they are able to get kills, but they get into so many fights that one of them gets picked off. And even though they're capable of doing those 2v3s, as we saw them against Underrated last game, it's going to be better if they could just stick as a team to the late game. Because in the late game, if they can get those 3v3 fights, they'll get the kill points later on and they'll secure the win. And that's what they need. They need 10 points this game. So that's very, very plausible. They'll definitely be able to do it, taking the right steps. But Weigers, how are they doing right now?
Not too great, to be honest with you. Weigers obviously the winners of the first tournament of the Autumn Circuit, and they secured their qualification to the playoffs pretty quickly, and they're going to be looting up around guys. But I feel this is a really big game for Le Site de France, Alliance, and New Esports, our 3 teams who are on match point. The reason being, there is such a small gap between those chasing pack that if one of these doesn't get it done now, all of a sudden we could go from having 3 teams on match point all the way down to, you know, 6, 7 teams potentially who cross that threshold, and then all of a sudden, you know, anyone of those 7 teams can take the tournament. So I think for Le Site de France, Alliance, and New Esports, I think slow and steady is the strategy here. Try and get to that end game. Try and get into one of those buildings that you can hold down. And with New Esports running the core stick, you have to feel that if they can do that, they might have the opportunity to close this out.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right. They should be taking it slow. They shouldn't get in too many fights. They don't want other teams to know where they are. And maybe the other teams are focusing on themselves. There's only 3 teams on match points, so maybe they're not feeling too much pressure right now. But as you said, if this goes on and on, it could be like North America yesterday, where multiple teams are on match point, and it's going to be anyone's game after 1 or 2 games here because so many teams are close to that threshold.
Well, we'll take a quick look at Alliance as they're currently looting up before they make their rotation and decide how they want to play this game number 6. But, I mean, I want to talk about Vives and Hackis and also give a lot of love to Badoli as well for what he's been doing, supporting those 2 in their games where they've been having these pop-up huge kill games. And you mentioned it in the last game, and John mentioned it on the desk as well, and Dan mentioned it as well. Hackis' ability and his consistency with those kidnaps, in my opinion, I think is the best in the world here. I think it's come to the point now where it's not a percentage play for them. It's almost a guarantee that he can pick a player off.
Absolutely. I think he's really good at recognizing where teams are, what their movement abilities are. Are they stuck in this corner? Oh, okay, they're stuck in this area. I'm going to be able to get this kidnap off. And what nickname did you give him last game?
Oh, he's the king of the kidnaps.
Yeah, Kidnap King, yeah?
Kingnap. We'll go with that one.
That is the perfect name for Hackis. And you know what? Maybe we'll see another kidnap this game. But for now, no one's going to be kidnapping because no one is camped up in a building right now. Most teams trying to find their spots. It looks like Third Impact trying to keep this high ground between Epicenter and Refinery, trying to look for teams around them to see if they could pick off another squad.
Well, good news for Underrated, and good news also for Alliance. The fact that we have a very southern-based circle means their rotations aren't going to be too huge, and they can potentially get to an endgame spot and just lock things down. Underrated, of course, need points on the board. They need 10 points in this game to put themselves on match point. They have already won a game today, of course, starting off hot in that game number 1. But the fact that we have a circle that could be played here by Alliance pretty early certainly interests me. The kind of the juxtaposition here, though, Go, is the fact that Alliance aren't really an early rotating team. They like to take fights on edge. They like to get points on the board. So I wonder if they're going to kind of rotate away a little bit, maybe just wait, let other teams move in before they make their move into that circle.
Well, knowing Alliance, I bet they have 50 pages of strategy into their books. They've been at this for so long. So they've definitely got a few ideas up their sleeves depending on what they encounter throughout the game. But I agree with you. Playing it slow, playing it quiet is the best thing to do. It seems like it's going to end between Sorting Factory and Launch Site. So getting a spot early there is kind of crucial for the win. I would say it's quite hard for teams to get a great spot in Sorting Factory / Launch Site unless it's early. So it's not looking too good for the teams outside of the zone right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams are going to be looking to get the northern side of Launch Site, as we saw the finish yesterday where I think it was Rogue who actually managed to close the game out as the circle fell between Sorting Factory and Launch Site down on that low ground just to the side of where the little truck is. Complexity also in that fight. But ATK, what a performance this has been from them today. One of our Middle East and African teams really putting in a solid showing as well. And showing that this is the Apex Legends Global Series. This isn't just NA. This isn't just Europe. This is Middle East and Africa, APAC. All involved. All regions all over the world. South America as well, of course. But let's see de France, one of the teams who are on match point. Well, they're making their way around Countdown.
And they've got a long ways to go. They definitely got a long ways to go. They have good guns. Volt Flatline isn't the greatest, but it isn't the worst. I would suggest maybe swapping one of those out for Massive, but you know what? When you're in a competitive environment, you're not always going to find that Massive. So that's something they'll definitely swap out if they see one, but they'd rather focus on the rotation now because the rotation is crucial. And once you get into the fights later on, then you're going to be able to swap out for exactly what you want. New Esports, they're going to opt to try and hold this tunnel later on, perhaps. And that doesn't seem like the worst idea.
I'd have to agree with you. And I like the fact that they're playing from the very south side of the map as well. You know, making sure that they're going to have their backs clear, that they can rotate in. They've only got to focus on one position in front of them. However, for JMW, all of his focus right now is on the team who have pushed up to that door. Messi, of course, needing 3 points now to put themselves on match point. But the EMP is going to come in, and that's going to drop their shields pretty quickly. So Medilol, Graceful, and JMW have to be very careful in this position. But the good thing is, Graceful on the caustic is going to be able to help them bunker down.
Yeah, it looks like there's multiple teams surrounding Nessie right now. So one team wanted to be aggressive, wanted to push them and try and get this fight in. But they got EMP'd and they had to fall backwards. JMW wanting to pick up the blue armor. And that makes sense because if a Crypto gets his EMP off on another team, he's going to get that damage in. Which is why some teams still drop their armors just to prevent the Crypto from getting that damage. But we'll see there. He'll probably be able to get that purple armor anytime soon. But he doesn't want to waste his ultimate, because if he wastes it and a team pushes him, then he's down his ultimate, and that's just one of their defenses.
We're here to see Alliance now looking to use that bubble and beacon combination to find out exactly what their next move is going to be. And they are going to be playing Edge of Zone here, playing the tried and true method that served them so well. Unfortunately, though, for August and Hungary, they're going to have a few players fall as Third Impact pick up their first kills of the game, and they're playing right on the edge of Fragment East here, around the streamer building, the broken building at the top, as they're now overlooking all these teams trying to rotate in from the northern side of the map into that zone. And then you can see from the pings at the moment, there's a couple of teams who are currently kind of caught out a little bit. As Alliance now, we hop over to watch them as there's a team on their back.
And they are getting naded. The nade hits Badoli. Vife's taken his armor out, so they're going to try and retreat and recover here and see if they get pushed. They're on the low ground, but they do have cover underneath the bridge. I don't think the team will give up the high ground because it's a good position to chase them, unless they're in dire need of some kill points, but it seems like they're going to retreat just fine.
It's going to be a tough rotation here for Alliance as well now. You've got to work their way through Sorting Factory. So many teams will already be, you would imagine, inside a Sorting Factory with so much playable ground, so many buildings, so many different areas of elevation that can be taken. So it's going to be an inch-by-inch approach now, sort of surgical from Alliance to find their way into a safe spot. And they will be safe just about here. So not too much of a risk for them. But maybe on that next rotation is where that circle closing is going to cause some more problems.
Oh, Les Sites de France actually took out microfibers there. So some teams may know where they're at, but they're on the edge of zone. They're not too close to the zone right now, but they're making their rotation. And they'll be able to do the beacon scan here if they have enough time. They have 40 seconds, but they're looking for someone inside the building.
The Bloodhound scan will come in that will show. But there is one player inside. It's going to be the Gibraltar. Some damage is going to be done, though, by two members of La Cité de France. The nades come in. They have to back out. And it's a bit of a battle for the beacon at the moment here over a tree. No knocks so far to report, but the Gibby's going to be caught off guard here. Two players are actually going to be caught off guard. The down comes in, and all of a sudden will look like a little bit of a back and forth has turned into La Cité de France wiping the floor.
Psychbot just went in with absolute confidence right there, and the Gibraltar just turned his back at the same time Psychbot decided to go in, and that is actually a little bit unlucky, but you can never be off guard.
So let's see de France. KP not too important for them at the moment. Just remind yourself that they are one of our teams on match point. It's all about the #1 spot for them. Unfortunately, for Sightbot here, his two teammates have taken a little bit of damage, so the portal's going to have to go down to get them out of trouble. New Esports, though, you can see they're inside of the Dome building at the moment, around the sorting factory area, so they're pretty comfortable. They've got this one bunkered up with the caustic barrels, and they're going to be playing the long game here.
Yep, they're in that little silo right beside the big construction building type thing in sorting factory, so they're away from all of the other teams, and they'll be able to rotate with maybe some ease, but maybe not, depending on where the zone is rotating to. I would assume that it's rotating right in the center over the west side.
You can see from the beacon as well that sorting factory is certainly going to be in play here. So much of it involved. We're not going to see one of those violent pulls that maybe we saw yesterday, where initially when we saw this first zone we were thinking maybe it's going to land between the south side of sorting factory, but it looks like now sorting factory is the place to be held down by all of these teams. Hacky's now making his move, and Alliance are going to be following him as they try and take some real estate here inside of sorting factory, just prodding away at this caustic team. I believe it was Nessie who were in here a few moments ago. New Esports also now inside of the station building in sorting factory. All of our teams who are currently on match point have found themselves somewhere to play.
Indeed, and I like this end zone. I feel like if you're one of the few teams playing Pathfinder in this moment, that you might be able to get the high ground in the middle of sorting factory, or if a team is brave enough to take the dangerous zip line or balloon, they could get the high ground in the middle of sorting factory too. And if the zone pulls right straight there, you're going to have angles on every team inside pushing into the zone. Alliance forced themselves to get this building, and they're going to predict, they've pinged where they think the zone is going to end, which is right under that high ground that I was talking about. So it seems potentially that it might just end there.
An interesting thing for me to notice here is this Alliance that are actually holding out La Cité de France, who are trying to make that rotation in from the west side of World's Edge. So two of our teams are on match point here, currently having eyes on each other. The two Gibbies poking and prodding, exchanging fire, trying to take that arm shield down. But Badoli, unfortunately, is going to wander behind the arm shield of Vipes there and take the bullet for him.
Now, I don't understand how he's going to see outside of the door. Oh, I guess that is why he opted to throw it elsewhere. So he's going to try level up his Evo shield. They are pretty good. They have 3 purples as of now. So he's looking really good. He's just trying to do damage, push people away, show presence. Presence is a big thing in Apex Legends. Show presence. Make sure people know you hit all of your shots and you hit them hard, and then you won't get pushed for free.
Well, there's a team who's trying to push right now, and that is Underrated. Big shots coming in with a massive as well. There's the first knock. Damage done again onto the second player, and it looks like Underrated at the moment are feeling themselves in this 3v3 fight. A right hook from Horizon is going to close things out here. Unfortunately, though, here comes the third party, Underrated, who needed 10 points to find themselves on match point, are down to just 1. Horizon, as the solo Wraith has got to back out.
He is going to back out indeed, and it's going to be hard to recover those banners. if that team decides to stay on it. He is outside of the zone, so he's going to have to make a quick decision on where to go next. His massive shots hit perfectly there. He played that perfect, but unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about a third party if you don't clean out fast enough.
So while all this is going on, New Esports, they've just seen that with that beacon lighting up, they will have to move as well. The beauty of playing that crypto, of course, they don't have to move to get that beacon. They don't have to risk too much using that drone to get the information. But look at Alliance now. They've managed to scoot their way up to the... I thought they'd scooted up to the next building from where they were playing, but they're pretty comfortable for now. Inside of this building, they've been holding down for the last sort of 5 minutes or so. But now look at the beacon lighting up. Alliance will have to move. It's going to be finishing right slap bang in the middle of that snake building here in Sorting Factory. And that means a lot of movement is going to have to occur, and we have a lot of teams who still have to make their move.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for a lot of teams. If you're playing inside the building, you have the chance of getting pushed from either side. Playing from the roof, same thing. You could get pushed from either side. You can also play on either end of the building, but then you're in the open and the roof has kind of an angle on top of you. So everyone's going to be fighting for this small circle in the end, and potentially the team that comes in latest gets the spot, or the team that comes in first and defends it well gets the spots. So what do you think? Do you think inside or above would be the best spot here?
Can I answer that question in about 5-7 minutes time? And
Yeah,
I'll let you
of
know.
course.
Thank you very much. Playing the political approach there. It's going to be a tough... I agree with you, though. 13 squads remaining. This is going to be an incredibly tough circle. It's always tough to work your way into Sorting Factory to find a spot to play full stop. But now you have these teams who are going to have to fight for this small area. And the roof's going to be one playable area. Inside going to be one playable area. We'll probably have a couple of teams playing either side of where this end circle is going to be playing as well. But there's not going to be a huge amount of area to co-inhabit for these teams. So you are going to see teams fall when we move towards that end zone. But for now, North, they've made their way in to Sorting Factory. North, who are currently on 40 points. They need 10 points to their name to join Le Site de France Alliance and New Esports on that match point. As you see a portal going down below them as well, and RPR taking a little bit of damage there. Not too much, just a bruise from the charge rifle.
North is one of the teams right now that have the most information. So they've decided they want to play the roof. They want to play the high ground and defend it. Now, being inside of the building seems like it's going to be the hardest. They're going to have to push through team and team again with the ability of getting flanked. So Tycoonix, New Esports, they're pushing in. They're trying to get angles. 51 damage from Tycoonix put in, but Kaishira taking a lot of damage. There's a Pathfinder inside the building, and he has a darn big hitbox there, so he might have just went down.
They mentioned that push there. Alliance now, they're under pressure as well. Not surprised to see so many different teams under pressure, but it's going to be New Esports who make a huge play here to clean out the team that was in front of them. That's massive from them, because now they have a position in end zone, in that next circle, and they will be guaranteeing themselves almost a top 5 position, and they spot out a sneaky little Wraith who was crouching in a corner as well.
That was a really good effort by Stanny there. Unfortunately, it's so hard for a Pathfinder team to play inside of a building rather than outside on top. So maybe they should have went for a high ground position with that Pathfinder being there. It was a good effort by them. New Esports just showed dominance in that fight. They pushed, they got the angles, and they caught out the rat. Zipith going down in the kill feed right now by Hardeki. Hardeki getting those kill points in.
Well, here comes the play here from Alliance. Damage done initially by Hackage to try and force this team off the top of the building. The portal goes down, and unfortunately for ATK, it meant the Gibby was left stranded as the portal wasn't dropped in time, meaning that Alliance managed to pick up a kill point, but kill points don't matter too much for them. First place is all that matters. They are on match point, and they now have an opening to make their move, but with 15 seconds remaining and 10 squads left in this game, it's going to be difficult for them to do so, but New Esports, one of our teams on match point, they are in zone, they are dead center, and they are holding everybody out.
They are indeed, and they do have a Caustic, so playing inside with the Caustic is going to be really good for them. North still hanging on to the roof of this building. They're getting thermited. RPR trying to heal up. Taishin taking in a lot of damage from that thermite area. The zone is starting to close in very, very slowly, but this is going to push a lot of teams to fight each other. So the more teams that die here, the better it is for those match point teams or others to do some damage. But Dolly taking in a lot. He's down to 1 HP here.
Yep, Dome's going to go down as well, unfortunately, but Dolly will fall, and for Alliance, it's a big moment in this game. Hakis has to go into the void. He's going to be extremely weak as well, but can the Wraith stay alive long enough to pull off a miracle? No! Alliance will be eliminated. One of our match point teams is gone from our game number 6.
We do still have New Esports alive inside the building, so there is a chance that they take out the victory. North hanging on to the roof, but they're encountering a caustic team. Now, that caustic gas, that stays for a long time. Those are beams from RPR doing some damage on the team inside. Tycoonic spots a team from inside. He's doing the massive shots. He's trying to push them away. They need to get this team outside of their building right now so they could play at ease for the end zone. They have 47 seconds to eliminate this team while other teams are fighting.
Post-kill taking some damage though, and all of a sudden things have turned around very quickly here for New Esports. Kashera has gone down. The push is coming in as well. Tycoon is trying to do what he can. The massive shots will hit hard, but there's a solo player behind. But it doesn't matter to Tycoon because New Esports stay alive. 4 squads now remaining, and they stay on match point.
RPR gets thirsted. Tycoonix with that pure skill. He played the corner. He got all of the massive shots off that he needed to do. With the clutch, they are alive. Postkill just got to heal up. They have 10 seconds till the zone closes in. They're still in the zone. They got to put those traps up. They got to put that defense up. I believe they're the last team inside the building. 3 squads left. 2 of them on the roof night right now. And if those 2 teams fight, New Esports has a chance to third party them and get the win in this final game.
Shots are going to be firing, and New Esports are going to hear every single piece of metal flying through the sky, and they're just waiting for their moment. They're only a 2-man though, so the timing has to be perfect. Magicians and North going at it on top of this building might create the opportunity though, as Magicians now move in. Big shot with the massive. North in trouble here. They will be taken down, and here come New Esports. Can they close out the Autumn Circuit Finals? They have to back down though, girl.
They absolutely have to back down, and that was very crucial for Magicians to cleanly team wipe North. That's actually very crucial for them and the rest of the squads in this game, because if they manage to get knocks on both teams, then New Esports would have had a cleaner fight for the third party. But their fight was so clean that New Esports wasn't able to cleanly third party. So this is a 2v3 situation, but Postkill is a caustic, and he will have his caustic gas for the final zone. Unfortunately for them, Magicians might know that they're a team of 2 and they have a crypto, so they have an entry to the fight. With that ultimate, there is so much to go on in this last minute.
New Esports somehow have found their way into this position. Let's just take a second to appreciate some of those massive shots that Tycoon hit to even give them the opportunity to close things out here in this match number 6. But for now, the calm before the storm. Caustic barrels will be going down. A 3v2, Magicians. Maybe thinking about setting up a portal. They've got a crypto to play with as well, so they can do some EMP damage. And here comes the portal from Taskmaster. He looks like he's going to be going for the kidnap. The EMP comes in. They do get the initial knock though. And that means, unfortunately for New Esports, it's a 3v1. And surely this means we'll be going to a Game 7. It doesn't.